I think that it has one of the best Stan Lee cameos.
Yeah,
and
it
I don't
does.
think people talk about it enough, but hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. We have a very special episode for you today. Today, we're going to be tackling an older movie. It is Iron Man. In fact, it is part of our new segment. Every week, we will have a new Marvel movie from the MCU all the way up to current times. We're refreshing ourselves with these movies, and we're getting Anthony caught up finally with all of these Marvel movies so that he can be, present for the new upcoming movies to come.
So I can be relevant in these discussions.
He needs to be relevant.
I'm slowly learning this by playing Marvel Snap. It's a card game made by Second Dinner and the publisher's Newverse. I mean, I know Marvel stuff, just the basic stuff, the basic characters that we know, like Wolverine and Rogue and Captain America. But watching all these movies, I'll get more into the story of these characters. Also stuff presented by Stan Lee that I know about the great Stan Lee, R.I.P. Stan Lee. But yeah, I should probably, this is a good way for me to go into that.
Yeah, now superhero films have had their ups and downs, especially in recent times. We're coming into an age where we have a lot of superhero fatigue, and it's definitely kind of drained the hype on a lot of these superhero movies upcoming. But let's go back and appreciate kind of where we started from. And maybe we can convince some of you that things are going to get better. Because I truly, truly believe that things are going to get better, especially with the recent direction that Disney is heading towards with focusing on quality over quantity, unlike they have been doing in the last couple of years, focusing on the Disney Plus shows. Now, that being said, before we get into today's episode, I would like you all to hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really helps the channel out. And if you want to support us even more, you can go over to patreon.com/thecalvincam, hit one of our 3 tiers and really support us and get bigger and better. But yeah, getting into our first movie in this Marvel segment, we have where it started with Iron Man. Now, some of you Marvel fans out there are going to be like, well, technically it started. No. We're talking about the original of the origination of the MCU specifically. So it started in 2008 with Iron Man, and Iron Man was a very interesting film at the time because Marvel put it out not knowing it was going to be as successful as it was. And this film was directed by Jon Favreau, who is a fantastic director. As we've seen in recent times, he has definitely helmed some of the most recent Star Wars stuff, and it is fantastic. Like The Mandalorian, it's amazing. This was one of his first major hits. He had made movies before this, like Zathura or even Elf, but this was the movie. He really blew up after this. Now, Iron Man was just a marvel itself, I should say. This movie is phenomenal. Rewatching it, I've seen this movie several times, but I just watched it before we did this episode, and this movie's fantastic. This movie hits every beat perfectly for a superhero movie. It is a perfect origin story. It's very self-contained. It doesn't go out all crazy and stuff as we've seen in recent times. And it has a very all-star cast.
Yeah. I thought the origin story and how it was told was perfect. Going back and rewatching this movie, because I have seen this one.
Yeah.
I thought it was phenomenal the way Robert Downey Jr. being, I think this is where he started to come back, right?
Yeah, this was his comeback film. There's not a better casting of a character, in my opinion, than him as Tony Stark. I think that there will never be anybody better than Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. I don't care what your opinion is, but there are just certain actors in film that we know are associated with certain characters that are perfect. I think Hugh Jackman's one of those characters. I don't think
or Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
I just don't see. It's when the actor becomes the character forever, immortalizes the character.
Yeah.
So I think that that's what Robert did with Iron Man and Tony, and so he's phenomenal. Another great performance we have in this movie is Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard as Rhodey. He is incredible in this movie. He's very charismatic. He's charming. He's everything that I wanted as Rhodey. Now, I think eventually he gets replaced by Don Cheadle after this movie. But I really wish they would have kept Terrence around, because I thought that he played the part so well, and I really wanted to see more of that. Going back, Jeff Bridges, he was a phenomenal villain.
He was a phenomenal villain, and his acting just straight up OG Jeff Bridges acting.
Yeah, he's a very likable character.
Yeah,
and he puts a twist on it at the very end. So like, I kind of love that twist at the time. Gwyneth Paltrow, great supporting actress.
Yeah, Pepper Potts, she's awesome in this movie, and she's just a great actress overall. But
yeah,
she plays this role really well.
But the thing is that this movie was helmed by like this all-star cast, and I think that it just really shines because they all played such significant part in the storytelling of this movie. And I again, Jon Favreau's direction of bringing all of these characters and creating the chemistry between all of these characters was flawless.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's perfect.
Even Sean Tu Bien-Sen. He's like a major character in this movie as a side character, I think, in the beginning of the film.
He kind of really inspires Tony Stark to be good.
Yeah.
And that is definitely helps him see the wrongdoings that the acts in the Middle East have been occurring with his weapons and stuff. You know?
It totally changes his dynamic as a character and how he wants to do good and how he evolves his character and makes himself not just this philanthropist that has money and designs these weapons. Like he becomes you see that he becomes a superhero and he wants to do more good for humanity. Just like
he immediately gets when he gets back, he stops all production on military funding, because he doesn't want that. He really wants peace. And he realizes that all of the weapons that he and his company have made at Stark Industries have been getting in the wrong hands and causing global conflict. And it's just like, it's sad. It's a tragedy, actually.
Yeah.
So
and there's that moment that you see that in Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark is that point, like, when all this stuff is happening with his Stark, with his Stark Enterprises weaponry, like no one's doing anything about it. So he takes it upon himself to go there as Iron Man to do something about it.
Yes.
And that's like a really captivating part of this movie that I thought was really good.
No, he really he puts the emphasis in being a superhero, in not obeying the general law and taking things into his own hands. A lot of things like the conflicts that he deals with in this movie have to go through paperwork upon governments talking to each other and deciding whether or not it's okay to go here or there or whatever. And he just like basically handles it himself, like disobeying all laws and taking it into his own hands, which plays a bigger role later on in the MCU, as you'll see when we get down the road. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely a foreshadowing of things.
Yeah.
And also the group that captures him is also another foreshadowing of things, just so you know. They're called the Ten Rings. And it's funny because a lot of the things that foreshadow the future in this movie weren't expected to actually be fleshed out later on.
Well, you said 10 rings, so I think of Shang-Chi when I say 10 rings.
Exactly. So, but it's just like, this movie wasn't made to be, like, it was made to be successful, but it wasn't made to be the creation of, like, how big the Marvel Cinematic Universe is now. Like, the Nick Fury cameo at the very, very end of the movie it was more of just, like, a fun thing rather than like this is actually happening. But this movie blew up at the box office. It did so incredibly well, and it is praised. And I, in my opinion, think that this movie is, if not the best, damn near the best of any of the MCU movies. And I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and I would like biasly would love to put Spider-Man at the top, but this is like the best, I think. Like,
yeah,
so,
I mean, just the direction, the portrayal of the character, even had a comedic element when he's designing his suit and he's talking to Jarvis and stuff like that. I thought that part of it was cool, like his little robots and androids are telling him not to shoot him and not to cool him off and don't do this and don't do that. And he's like, okay, now you can do it. He goes, good boy on one of them, like when he crashes and stuff. So I thought it had those little comedic elements in there too.
It's
that
funny.
it needed it. It was really cool. It was entertaining at the same time. You have to have those breaks from the serious role of the storytelling in this movie. And I thought the way they broke it up a little bit with that was really cool.
It's funny because it shows like a little interpersonal relationship between him and his machines.
Yeah.
So I think that it's funny, especially when you brought up the part where when he takes the first test flight and he crashes, and then the one like machine like turns and extinguishes him. I think it's so funny, but like I loved it. Yeah, this is just a all around great movie, and I think that the pacing is perfect. I think that it has a really good climax, but it's not too big.
Yeah, I did like the pacing of the reveal of
Warmonger. Yeah.
Warmonger, not only Warmonger, like the revealing of Iron Man and his electrode in his chest that is keeping him alive from the shrapnel going into his heart. So just like the reveal to that before he like reveals it to Obadiah, which is Obadiah Stane, that's played by Jeff Bridges. Like, there's a while before he actually reveals that to him. So it's kind of cool. Also with that, when they're replacing it, he's putting a more updated version, like when he has Pepper do it. So when he has Gwyneth Paltrow do it, she's
how
like,
big are your hands?
She goes, I don't think I'm qualified to do this. And then they do it, and it's just a good scene right there. Those two, the acting is good, and it's just really good. So
this movie has great music in it too, and I think that it has one of the best Stan Lee cameos. And I don't think people talk about it enough, but Stan Lee plays a version of Hugh Hefner, and it's funny. So
you have that, and I thought for the time, I thought the CGI was like really well done for the time.
It's great. It's fantastic. It's better than some of the recent ones.
Oh yeah.
So
because this movie came out in like 2008, right?
Yep, 2008.
2008. And for the time, it was really well done.
Yeah.
Now the CGI is like overused in every movies, and there's good examples of it and bad examples of it. So
yeah,
I thought it was really well done in this movie.
Now, what would you rate this movie?
I give it a 5 out of 5. Honestly, that's what I really think about this movie. I thought the story in this movie, the way it just portrays Tony Stark and the character and his universe and who he is, like it overall is really told well. I think that, like I said, the special effects were really well done for the time period. I thought the music was good when it needed to be. And also the thing that really is the best about this movie is Robert Downey Jr. and all the supporting cast around him. Like, they were awesome, and that's why this movie is a 5 out of 5 for me, because they just did an amazing job.
I totally agree with you. Pretty much to the T. I also give this movie a 5 out of 5. I think that it's flawless. I think it's fantastic. Actors, direction, writing, dialogue is great. And you could tell that Robert definitely improvised a lot of Tony's sequences. So I think that it just all came together and melded perfectly. And we got basically one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. So
yeah, I mean, This movie was great, and I just can't wait to go revisit the rest of the MCU stuff and see Iron Man 2 and 3.
Yeah. All right. So that's going to be it for our review of this episode. We have something special for these Marvel episodes. So
now I am going to drill Calvin with some Marvel trivia. So hopefully I know he's going to get most of these, but I'm going to test his might in terms of his knowledge of the subject.
I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I really love it. I think that the MCU is one of my favorite franchises of all time, and I will stand by it, because I have to see where it goes.
All right. Number 1, we have, who is the sorcerer and ally of Doctor Strange known as the Ancient One?
Damn. You stumped me.
No, I'm going to let you think about it for a second. Think about it.
I know who the Ancient One is, but I cannot think of it. I honestly, I cannot think of the name.
You give up?
Repeat the question.
Who is the sorcerer and ally of Doctor Strange known as the Ancient One?
I don't know. It's the bald girl, but I don't know her name. I don't know.
Is it? I'm thinking is this the character that's played by what's her name? Tilda?
Yeah, it is.
It's Tilda. I don't know her last name. Sweden or whatever.
Yeah, it is. I just don't know. I can't think of the name.
Sorry, I didn't mean to butcher Tilda's name.
I've only ever called her the Ancient One. So
okay.
No, yeah, that was a good question.
I got you with it.
Yeah.
You want to know who it is now?
Yeah, tell me.
It is Yao.
God dang it.
All right. I got him with one. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. All right. He's probably going to know this one. What is the alias of T'Challa's sister in Black Panther?
Of T'Challa's sister?
Yeah. Come on, Cal. I know you know it.
The alias? Her name or her
What is the alias of T'Challa's sister in Black Panther?
Isn't it Shuri?
Correct.
Yeah.
It is Shuri.
I was like, is it her name or is
No,
it
it's Shuri.
what she goes by? Yeah, okay.
All right. Which 4 Marvel characters is known for breaking the 4th wall?
Deadpool.
Yep. You got that one right off the bat.
She-Hulk, Deadpool.
What is the real name of the villain Red Skull?
Oh, damn. That's a good question. I actually don't know.
It's Johann Schmidt.
Schmidt. Agent Schmidt? Agent Schmidt?
Yep. Asgardians have their own name for Earth. What is it?
Midgard?
Correct. He got that
Yeah.
one right off the bat.
Well, I know Norse mythology too, so.
Who is the villain in Ant-Man?
The original Ant-Man movie, it's Yellow Jacket.
You are correct.
Yeah.
All right. There's a lot of them on this list. We could probably do this
Give me
for a while.
Give me 5 more.
Okay. In Captain America Civil War, who isn't Iron Man on Iron Man's team, Vision, Black Panther, Hawkeye, or Black Widow?
Who isn't on Iron Man's team?
Yeah.
Say that again.
Okay. In Captain America's Civil War, who isn't on Iron Man's team? Vision, Black Panther, Hawkeye, or Black Widow?
I believe it's Hawkeye.
You are correct, sir. It is Hawkeye. All right. Here, we'll give him one that he'll know. Here's one he'll definitely know. In Spider-Man No Way Home, which version of Spider-Man successfully saves Mary Jane after she falls off the building?
That would be Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yes, you are correct, Calvin. I got to give him a Spider-Man
That was
one.
the redemption moment for his character, and I love it.
Yeah. Okay. In Thor Ragnarok, Who does Thor fight in the area while stuck in Sakaar?
Hulk.
Hulk is correct. Yeah. I am going to try to stump him, but I know that he knows his MCU, so it's going to be hard.
Hey, I
to
didn't
stump
know
him.
a couple of them.
And you didn't know Yao, so I guess that's one.
Or Red Skull's name, that.
Okay, in Loki, what does TVA stand for?
The TVA, the time.
I might have got an audience, maybe.
Time. Oh shit.
I might have gotten him.
You got it. You got me. I can't.
You give up?
Yeah, I give up.
It's the Time Variance Authority.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay. All right. Maybe we have time for one more.
Let's just do one more.
Okay. All right. What system replaced Jarvis? Since this was an Iron Man episode, we'll talk about Jarvis.
What system replaced Jarvis? That would be Friday.
And he is correct.
Yes. All right. Well, that was going to do it then.
Yeah, that was the last one we have for the trivia for this segment of our MCU series that we're doing.
Next episode in this series will be The Incredible Hulk, because we are going in order of when they came out. So that's next. We will catch you next time. Thank you all for tuning in very much. And yeah.
See you later.
Thank you all so much for tuning into the Calvin Cam podcast. We appreciate you all so very, very much. And, if you like us, hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really helps us out. As well as you can go over to our social media platforms like Instagram or X and follow us over there. We like to communicate and build our community up. As well as you could also go to patreon.com/thecalvincam and join one of our 3 tiers that we offer. We offer a couple of different benefits per tier, and it's good stuff, and it would really, really help us, and we'd really appreciate it, of course. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you later.